You are my superstar. Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today. With me I have some more RPG horror stories. Oh, I feel so nice right now. I just got out the shower and I'm recording on here and everything, and I have the fan right above me. Oh, it feels so good. It's been so hot and just grimy outside, dude. I don't even want to step outside anymore. I need to get some IRL stuff taken care of, but I don't want to. I want to just stay here and read some RPG horror stories. Speaking of, we got some RPG horror stories for today. That time my sister ruined the campaign at the final hurdle. So for context, me and my family had all recently watched Stranger Things, and it sparked my love for D&D. Weren't in for it for the very start, began watching around the release of season 2, and went from the beginning. But the D&D segment made me look into the game, and my family decided to give it a shot. My mother was an avid storyteller, and so after speaking and planning with a friend of hers who knew more about the game, he handed us one of his homebrew quests, a dungeon-crawling tale of heroes with lots of mystery and tension. Nothing too outrageous, but easy to follow with lots of combat, puzzles, and chances to play our characters. The game started very smoothly. My two sisters, myself, and my stepfather were the party, and my mother, the DM, and our party looked like this. Stepdad was Garroth the Great. His stats role has been immaculate. He was a longsword-wielding, charismatic, and strong human fighter who was here to become the hero of his home and immortalize himself. Arrogant, proud, but a team player who never left a man behind. My younger sister was Saldris Everlorn, a halfling bard with a penchant for causing chaos in song. Her dexterity and charisma score had been solid, but her health and strength had lacked polish. She was still a decent offensive mage and wholeheartedly embraced the roleplay aspect of the game, staying fully in character as an outgoing and jovial musician. In-game, Saldris and Garroth often poke fun at each other and had a friendly rivalry. Then there was me. I was looking for a break stereotype of the Battens, create a more complex character with help from my mother's friend. His name was Ragnar. He was an ex-slave tiefling, a barbarian who had been forced to fight a war he didn't believe in. His sovereign was slain, and thus he had been freed, but had nowhere to go. He did the only thing he could and become an adventurer for hire, a brutal and fierce fighter who swung his mighty greatsword with ease and skill. My strength and constitution were high, but also got a third good roll and decided to allocate it to wisdom. Awarding to my lore, stating that I was not one to speak casually, but when I did, it was often information you'd want to listen to. Finally, we have Raven Illithorn, a reluctant half-elf cleric who was sworn into faith at a younger age and only served her god because it suited her and helped her avoid danger and let her keep swinging. Her only truly bad role had been her intelligence, so she decided to make her street smart more practically knowledgeable than typical intellectual. This was played by my younger sister, who was really only interested in a combat section and bits where her character got to be a sarcastic and uninterested voice of reason. As she argued her wisdom stat made this logical, which I guess it did. With how her character was laid out, she decided to give her low rolls charisma and strength, opting to play a more dex-heavy build that relied on short sword and shield to swipe at opponents. The first couple sessions have been fun. The start of the dungeon was packed with standard creatures, nothing outrageous, but only truly being challenged by a small horde of zombies on session 3. With a 4 vs 6 scenario ahead, the battle took some time and we hadn't fought undead like this before. After deciding to end the session on long rest, Raven decided to pipe up in metagame fashion. "You should take the healing spell next level, Saldris." Saldris asked her why. She complained about having to always heal and never having in your room to attack or cast any offensive spells. Mind you, I'd offered to play the cleric, but my sister had been adamant that she would play it, even though she knew full well that clerics typically have to do the most healing and support spells out of any class in a party. It seemed she thought potions and alternatives were going to be abundant, but now she was apparently bored with just casting heal wounds every turn. This much was not true, but at this point none of us had actually gone through death saves. We were handling the combat quite well. Regardless, my sister agreed, and my mother even decided to break pace and give us a level up a little earlier than planned, so Saldris could take the spell into her repertoire. Heal wounds? Is that a D&D? Maybe might have been like an older edition thing. I know there's cure wounds and healing ward, and that's about it. But also clerics are, you guys must be playing like an old edition of D&D or something, maybe a 4th edition or something, 3.5, I don't know, because 5th edition clerics are the only way to heal. Also, short rest is a great way to heal. Short rest is a great, amazing resource that you can use in order to heal up after battles. Honestly, I think most parties really underuse it. We assumed that would be the last of it, but that's when it became more and more abundantly clear that Raven wasn't paying attention to anything that was said outside of combat or when she was being addressed directly. We constantly had to remind her what the current goal was, when she was visibly confused when we started making rolls to try and locate a hidden door that promises some goodies thanks to a tip I got from intimidation on a bandit hidden in lower levels. By the time we hit session 8, we'd been playing for about 2 months and come far. We had all reached level 7 by this time, had a good grip on our spells and abilities, Both me and Gareth had even had the fortune of finding low-grade enchanted weapons. I'd found a battle axe that would cause enemies to set ablaze upon critical hits, and Gareth had found a +1 longsword that was engraved with runes that we couldn't decipher, but likely held an ancient power. Meanwhile, Raven was constantly forgetting how many spell slots she had left, making poor decisions in combat that we had all learned from sessions ago, and constantly asking, "Who is that?" or "What are we doing again?" when her turn to speak came up. We tried to speak to her out of character and get her to understand she would have to listen to actually play with us, but she just blew it off and she said she would get bored when nothing interesting was happening. Luckily, she did start paying a bit more attention after that, but it didn't get much better. I get that things can happen in D&D that don't sound extremely interesting, but at the end of the day, if you're constantly asking, "Who is that? Where are we? Who am I? What am I? Where am I even going?" then I feel like it's kind of a problem that you're just not paying attention. The only thing you have to do is, use your ears, listen, and just be present, be corporeally present in the current moment. But for whatever reason, your sister isn't. I don't know why. Maybe they just weren't about just specifically focusing on just battle alone. Maybe they're not that interested because it doesn't have to do with their character specifically. Definitely sounds like a problem that you need to get the player engaged in some way, because clearly they're having trouble getting engaged with the story. It shouldn't be that difficult to get engaged because, hey, stuff is happening, but you're just ignoring it and stuff. Maybe you should start paying attention more, potentially. I feel like that should have been talked a little bit more at hand, or I don't know. I don't think you have to do like some sort of like a Pavlovian thing where you have to like train the player to be like, "Ooh, fun thing you pay attention to, you get the reward and stuff," But at the end of the day, I feel like it should be some sort of a conversation like, "Hey, pay attention, or you're gonna miss out everything." At some point, if I, let's say, for example, didn't know what was going on because I wasn't paying attention, I'll probably just get tired and just start actually paying attention. The nail in the coffin came when a very large plot point was brought up and we all took note. The crystal we had to extract from the final chamber of the cave was just ahead. We had found a makeshift prison where a frail and defeated warrior warned us of its power. Apparently, the mage who had sealed it down here to collect later had placed a mighty spell upon it. If we try to touch it before dispelling the magic, we're putting ourselves in grave danger. Thankfully, it turns out the magic sword Gareth had magic disruption runes engraved on the blade. All we had to do was plunge the blade into the crystal and the spell will be weakened, just enough for us to make it off with it unscathed. I noticed Raven wasn't exactly paying attention, but I didn't want to seem rude and interrupt the session by singling her out again and disrupting the flow of the roleplay we currently had going. That was my biggest mistake. Upon fighting through the last of the dungeon guards and an astral projection of the evil mage, we finally made it to the crystal. After 12 long sessions, 2 near-death experiences, one of which of course belongs to Raven and the other to myself after a scuffle with a chained-up feral bugbear had me in pickle, and many fantastic moments involving everything from nat 20s to critical fails, we had done it. Upon seeing the crystal, Raven sprung into character. "So this is a hunk of rock we're after? Doesn't look so impressive to me." Raven grabs the crystal and stores it in her bag. All they had to do was just pay attention. Now things are gonna get bad, probably. The immediate look of horror that took upon every person's face clearly confused Raven. At this point, however, I think the DM had enough and just followed the protocol for touching the active crystal. We all had to make a strength saving throw as the crystal erupted with a mighty spell that was designed to throw us back and cause major damage. Gareth was up first. For the first time all campaign, he rolled a natural 1. He died. Next was Saldris. Her strength score just wasn't high enough to save her. She went down to death saves. Raven, due to having touched the crystal, was immediately thrown back at max speed and died on impact with cold stone wall. Thankfully, my health was high enough to withstand, and I made the only saving throw. I scrambled to roleplay and save Saldris, decided to take the opportunity to really play into this and get in character. Rushed over to Saldris, who was currently not doing so well, and desperately attempted to help her up. My sister, being an absolute mad lad, decided to give up and die, uttering a moving final speech in character that went something like this. "Don't worry about me, Ragnar. The battle we fought, the songs we sung, the journeys we had, it was all so incredible. To die here is to die a legend. Make sure they know my name." Ugh. We all sat in stunned silence and Raven looked truly shocked. How the hell was I supposed to know that it was going to explode and kill us all? They're just bad writing on Mom's friend's part. "Oh, really? Maybe you would have paid attention and I'd be AFK, probably looking at a phone or something." Assuming you guys will look at a phone. I don't know, man. It shouldn't be that difficult to just pay attention to important lore bits that everybody else is paying attention to. If everybody else is paying attention, you probably should listen to it as well. It shouldn't be that difficult, but for whatever reason, your sister just extremely absent-minded. But you know what? Actions have consequences. Kudos on the DM to have the actions actually produce some kind of consequences in here. Sucks that everybody died, but maybe that'll be a lesson for Raven. Who knows? When informed that we had been told, she went bright red and started muttering excuses. But we all silently agreed that she wasn't going to be playing with us if we played the game again. My mother helped me voice a stunning conclusion as I stumbled one way out of a cave after removing the crystal correctly, and I retired the character after that campaign. Me and Soldiers player went on to play another campaign with a group of her friends with me and a DM. Thankfully, my younger sister profusely apologized for swore off playing D&D ever again. Surprisingly, that experience actually made me appreciate players who took great interest in my world building and finding each little secret in Hidden Room, which I now love to weave into my campaigns. Hopefully it's a good lesson to learn for the future. Pay attention. It's not that difficult, especially if something interesting going on and something's happening, just pay attention. The only thing they have to do is just focus. Maybe, I don't know, maybe something else was distracting them. Maybe they had a trouble time focusing and stuff. I don't know. Anything could have happened. But at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is. I guess that's just what happens when a player doesn't focus and just touches the MacGuffin before the MacGuffin can be dispelled. Anyway, let's move on to the next story for today. Veteran DM tries to be a Twitch star, goes scorched earth after being called out for impossible challenge. My wife and I were part of a weekly Pathfinder 1st edition game ran by DM Jack, who built his world 4 decades ago, had been fleshing it out ever since. When it started, he was recording sessions to upload to YouTube for posterity. However, once PF2E came out, he wanted to switch to Twitch and live stream games. He was unemployed at the time, so he wanted to use viewer donations to help pay his utility bills and software license to run the game. Once we got in front of a live audience, his tone completely changed. We were no longer friends, just having fun. While none of the players were getting paid, we had call times to log on before each game. He had expected high-quality microphones and webcams. We always had to put on a positive face. Meanwhile, in our Discord channels, he was making threatening, blanket accusations of cheating and saying that he could replace us anytime we disagreed with how he ran game and wanted to step away. Oh my god, went immediate tyrannical mode. The fame or the lack thereof got into their head immediately. I will replace you. You are replaceable to me. You're not friends I play D&D with. You and I are my puppets, and I will throw you out if you don't dance for me. That is insane. Imagine somebody has so much of an ego and goes on a power trip just because they have maybe like one viewer watching, potentially, and they think, oh, I'm a big shot now. Insanity. He wanted to run a second campaign with new characters, but when we all voiced our desire to keep with our now high-level characters and resolve unfinished business, it was clear he became really pissed. He got vindictive in game. Every BBG in his repertoire, including Elder Gods, were gunning for us. However, the only way we could stop the evil forces working towards our destruction was to go on a massive fetch quest for no fewer than a dozen MacGuffin orbs, scattered in unknown locations around his homebrew world of over 40 different countries, kingdoms, and provinces, collectively larger than all of Tamriel. We had no idea where to go, and every time we encountered an established NPC of Jack's to gain some insight or assistance, the NPC would mock us for our ineptitude or ignorance while offering zero help or direction. We were just expected to explore and stumble upon these orbs, or get killed off by his OP encounters, so we could play in the game he actually wanted to run. I was a 17th level wizard, so between me and the equally powerful sorcerer in the party, we were shadow walking and teleporting across the world to try to cover as much ground as possible, and hoping we would just luck into some progress. One week, our monk Stu needed to call out a game so he could celebrate his 20th wedding anniversary. Jack said it was fine, but the game would go on regardless. Jack called an end of session right as our sorcerer finished casting teleport, so we could start a session without Stu whenever we ended up. Well, the session starts with Jack informing us that Stu's monk isn't with us and got lost somewhere during the teleportation process. We had no idea where he is, how to reach him, or how to get the party back together. But we press on, hoping that Jack will have a plan for Stu to come back next week. Next week rolls around for Jack basically has Stu sitting there on livestream, putting responsibility of reuniting the party entirely on us. Most of our spells don't work because of the effective ranges, and Jack is actively keeping Stu from playing to prevent us from metagaming our way into knowing where in the world he is. That is insane. Imagine if a player just can't make it because God forbid they want to celebrate the 20th wedding anniversary. God forbid. Oh yeah, I'm gonna punish the player by making him disappear from everybody else just to really ham-fizz the players into being basically screwed over trying to reconvene with each other. What a sucky DM. What a terrible, terrible DM. Literally doing this just so he can end the first campaign because he wants to start the second campaign, so he's just making it painful for his players. What a jackass. Finally, I get fed up and cash in one of the bonuses paid for by the audience. If you paid $10, a player could get anywhere from a -3 to +3 bonus on a check based on D6 roll. What? You could do pay to win in his live stream? You could pay him $10 to get a -3 or +3 bonus? Insanity. Why you stay in this game? He's introducing pay to win mechanics. Don't do that. I've seen somebody try to implement pay to win mechanics. Don't. Just don't. If you paid $20, a player could re-roll any failed D20 roll once. If you paid $50, a player could ask the DM directly for help, soliciting advice or identifying the path of least resistance forward to the story. I was fed up and cashed in the $50 bonus. What? Oh, I can't believe he offered that as a thing for his players. Insane. He's making you, the players, pay $10, $20, $50 even for him to give meta information. You can pay $50 for metagaming? What? This is nuts, dude. I've never seen anything bizarre to this, but this is insane. Jack's answer: a DC 60 Arcana check using one of the MacGuffin orbs to ride a surge of magical energy across the continent until it connects with Stu's orb. I had a plus 29 to Arcana's level 17 wizard. Had the highest Arcana bonus out of our remaining party. Sorcerer, Ranger, and Fighter. APF2E, even if I rolled a 20, I'd still be more than 10 below the DC check, and it was impossible for me to succeed. If I failed, I would take 100 d6 damage, and if I critically failed, I would take double damage and the orb we needed for the quest would shatter. The worst part was he made every one of our characters roll for a DC 60 Arcana check. I blew through over $400 of audience donation in rerolls, trying to mitigate the damage. You guys are insane. You're paying money to reroll, spending $400. I think you guys are a problem. You guys have a problem yourselves and your wallet not being restricted to the city of jackass over DM. Why are you guys spending $400 on this idiot? Oh my god. Yes, the DM is a problem here, but you guys are a problem for paying for this. You paid $400 for this. What the fuck? Why? You guys are insane. We blew through over $400 of audience donations in rerolls, trying to mitigate the damage of our inevitable failure, trying to avoid the crit fail. We ran out of bonuses on rerolls by the time we get to my wife's turn. Her ranger critical fails and the end session without resolving damage. They plan to keep us in suspense over the damage dealt for a week. Posted on behind the scenes chat in Discord, the DC 60 Arcana check felt like a punishment for Stu missing game. Jack made the choice to geographically displace Stu with no discernible indication as to where he ended up. Shouldn't be the player's responsibility to try out to reunite the party after Jack deliberately separated and sidelined the player. The solution he gave us that cost one of our audience members $50 was mechanically unbalanced and fair. He then proceeded to go Chernobyl-level nuclear in Discord, defending his experience as a DM for longer than I'd been alive, popping off personal attacks after personal attacks against me for being a prima donna, saying I can leave the game if I don't like how he's running things. And when I say he went nuclear, I mean he posted non-stop in the Discord for 3 straight days, from 9 AM and sometimes going until 2 in the morning. Both my wife and I informed him they would be leaving the game immediately. In the campaign in the following session, start up a new campaign with an entirely different cast shortly thereafter. The Twitch channel he used for his precious campaign setting is no longer active. Holy crap. Okay, definitely, this guy's a problem. This guy's a problem, but $400? $400? Are you guys crazy? Are you out of your mind? Why would you do that? Why would you do that to yourself? $400? Please tell me. Please tell me just the audience donated. You guys didn't actually donate. Insane. Insane. Somebody would even donate for a pay-to-win rerolls and stuff. $400. Crazy. The campaign could have been that good, right? It could have been that good. The only time I'd see anybody, even at reasonable time, even wanted to donate $400 for a campaign is that if you actually have like an IRL LARP ERP session with the succubus from Succulendia and something, and a specific cover for it. I don't know, man. Like, it's just nuts to me. It's nuts. Yeah, the guy sucks, but $400 to re-roll everything? Insane. Oh my god. Listen, if it's fine if you want to stream your games, but don't be a jackass to your friends. You guys are just friends playing D&D. No point in trying to be like hyper professional and stuff. There's so many content creators that just have a very relaxed, chill atmosphere and just play games for funsies. If I ever decide to stream any of my D&D games on this YouTube channel or any platform that I stream, either from now on or in the future, I am never putting in any sort of pay-to-win stuff. Good lord, ever. Nobody should even consider about that. That shouldn't even be a thought, to put pay-to-win, to pay something or make a player pay something to get a +3 bonus to a roll, or a re-roll a d20, or to just pay $50 to get meta information. Insane. Absolutely insane. I hope the guy never streams again. I don't even want to know the Twitch channel. I don't want to know anything about them. I hope they just never stream again ever in their entire life. My brain is dried. My brain is fried. I gotta take a break. This was insane. No, thank you. I have too many back-to-back stories, just crazy stories, and I just had to process a lot so far, dude. I need a break. We're ending the video right here. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.